Andrew, what do you think is the difference between influence and manipulation?
Oh, that's a great question.
Dun, dun, dun.
So manipulation has definitely got that negative tone to it. And in influence, I mean, I feel like influence might be walking the line a little bit better than manipulator, but there's an aspect of manipulation in sales and influencing and all of that good stuff. So
here, I have a theory on this, okay? Because I this was like a few years ago. I had this conversation with some friends, and we were like really discussing. Because when it came down to sales and influence, you could really influence somebody to buy, right? So we're talking about, are you manipulating them or are you influencing them, right? And so what we came up with is that when you influence someone, you're getting them to do something that's in their best interest.
Fair.
When you manipulate somebody, you're getting them to do something that is not in their best interest.
Good morning, marketers. This is how we should be starting every episode. This is seriously how we need to start every episode.
We gotta do some grunts like this.
Do you ever watch Home Improvement, man? Did you ever watch Home Improvement growing up? I still love it. I would binge watch that entire show, man. Damn.
I still want to know who the neighbor was. You know the neighbor? You only ever see his eyes?
Wilson.
What a creeper.
Wilson?
Yes, Wilson.
Yes. What a creeper. Yeah, true that. All right, man. I don't know how April was for you, but I'm excited to see May is here. May is here, officially here. 2022 is off to, a fast start. Really fast. I don't know what I got whiplash here with it. This year's flying past. What about you?
It's going to be May. Insert Justin Timberlake meme. Actually, yeah. Maria actually just randomly sent me that. Oh, yeah? She's like, I'll see you next week. And then like she sent me the Justin Timberlake. It's going to be May. I was like, yeah, it's good.
Well, it just goes to show you that I'm a uber Star Wars geek then, because that I didn't come across, but we got May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. It's just right around the corner. And Kenobi, man. May 27th, 2 episodes of Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm surprised that you're excited about these, because I'm like done with Star Wars, man.
I know, you and I were talking about that. And
Disney
I'm shocked.
killed it.
You used to be
It was
huge.
It was the purple hair lady from like the second Disney one.
Yeah.
Right? That ruined the whole thing. Like, what was she, you know? She was supposed to be like Hillary Clinton or something. Like, what was the whole story with her, you know?
What?
Like metaphorically. No. And remember there was that whole side story?
Yeah.
The whole side story where they go to another planet and they were like going to do something. The girl, remember? And then it turned out that the whole side story meant nothing to the whole movie.
You mean the casino? That casino planet? Is that what you're talking about?
I forget. Yeah. They go off. They're like, oh, we're going to go save everybody. So they like run off and it's this whole thing. But then it made no difference that they went there. Like you could have cut that whole thing out and it wouldn't have mattered to the whole story.
Yeah. You're not wrong there, man. But I've been a diehard fan for a long time. And then when Mandalorian came out and just blew my socks off. And now we got Ewan McGregor himself coming back after like 20 years of playing the same character. Like how often does that happen? Ahsoka Tano, the Ahsoka show is just going to be like bazonkers and crazy big. Like for anyone who's watched the Clone Wars animated show. I don't know. I'm geeking out on us now.
Nobody watched that, man. What we got is we have Doctor Strange coming out, and that's what really matters. We got to know what's going to happen to the multiverse of madness. I'm actually pretty worried that movie's not going to make any sense. So,
did you see?
Seems like it's just so much going on.
Do you see the new Spider-Man movie? Apparently, this one blows that one out of the water. That's what some people are saying.
I love Spider-Man new movie. I haven't watched Moon Knight yet. Anyways, let's not talk about
Moon
this.
Knight's awesome.
It has nothing to do with the creator economy. We have a show all about how the creator economy is booming, and we have some proof of what's going on. So I've been noticing this stuff. I sent you some of these things last week or a week before last. And I've been noticing that a lot of tech companies are now targeting creators. So they've switched from saying, we help entrepreneurs, or we help knowledge workers, or we help small businesses. Yeah, even the word influencers, I think, is done. And it's interesting, the difference between creator and influencer. Influencer, I think, projects some sort of, I am better than you. Right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's kind of like, you know what I mean? But I think there's a difference between a creator and an influencer. I think a creator is somebody who's on the rise. right? And they are creating the content. And influencers like Kim Kardashian, she's not creating anything really. She's just very influential.
Well, and yeah, the unfortunate negative paintbrush that the word influencer or influencing is gone through is because, yeah, there has been some negative examples of an influencer doing some nefarious things to sway their audience or persuade their audience into making purchases just off of their fake endorsements. I gotta say, like, some influencers are legit, like this is the product or service I care about. I actually use it. And then other influencers are pumping up stuff just because they're getting paid. So the term influencer has gone through a bit of a rough patch. And I agree with you. I think it's all about content creation, content creator.
Andrew, what do you think is the difference between influence and manipulation?
Oh, that's a great question.
Dun, dun, dun.
So manipulation has definitely got that negative tone to it. And in influence, I mean, I feel like influence might be walking the line a little bit better than manipulator, but there's an aspect of manipulation in sales and influencing and all of that good stuff. So
here, I have a theory on this, okay? Because I this was like a few years ago. I had this conversation with some friends, and we were like really discussing. Because when it came down to sales and influence, you could really influence somebody to buy, right? So we're talking about, are you manipulating them or are you influencing them, right? And so what we came up with is that when you influence someone, you're getting them to do something that's in their best interest.
Fair.
When you manipulate somebody, you're getting them to do something that is not in their best interest.
That's in your best interest, right? Yeah.
Or just at least is not in their best interest. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's a quick definition to differentiate it too. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I remember in Robert Cialdini's book, Influence.
I read it too.
He's like ongoing talking about how don't use these powers for evil and don't, manipulate people and stuff, right? So I remember he was really against, because once you have the power of influence, you have to use it respectfully, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I read that book years ago. I got to pick it up again. It's a great book, yeah.
So back to the creator economy.
Kajabi discovers the
I like
creator
Kajabi. Let's
economy.
call it Kajabi for the rest. I don't like Kajabi. I don't know. Nothing. I don't know why. I just like when I was young, I just didn't like Jennifer Lopez for like no reason. I just didn't like Jennifer Lopez. Yeah? I feel the same way about Kajabi. Yeah. I just don't like. I don't like it. Anyways.
I've never used it, but they're a big player. They're a big swinger in the content creator economy. I love the links that you shared for today's episode here, Matt. You like the Wayback Machine, eh? You use that a lot.
I find the Wayback Machine is a cool way to look like know what we're talking about. Because people don't know about the Wayback Machine. So
I don't use it nearly as much as you do, but I feel like I got to start using it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could see web pages, from way back in the machine, right? So here's what I found. This is what I thought was interesting. So I remember Kajabi switched their positioning last year sometime to target what they're calling, they were calling themselves, I should say, the number one platform to grow your knowledge business.
Yeah.
And at that time as well, you might remember, if anyone's kind of follows Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, they launched mastermind.com. You know the whole story behind that. It's actually a cool story. Russell Brunson actually bought mastermind.com for them. And they were all about building your knowledge business. And going even further back into the word knowledge business is what I recall, I believe the first person I heard talking about that was Eben Pagan. Eben Pagan is the godfather of selling courses online. Anybody teaching how to sell courses online, whatever techniques and psychology and marketing that they're teaching, it really comes from Eben Pagan's work, is what from my knowledge, from what I've seen. That's how far back I've seen the kind of the knowledge, the knowledge worker, the knowledge business, that sort of thing. So I thought it was interesting. And to give even more background on Kajabi for those who may be interested, Kajabi was originally launched by one of these information marketing gurus. His name was Andy Jenkins, who wrote the first video sales letter. It was actually launched using a product launch formula. It's called a PLF, which is very popularized by Jeff Walker. So it was a 4-part video series and it uses a very formulaic system to get people engaged and inspired in this new software. And that's how they launched Kajabi. And Kajabi was originally launched for people like the Jeff Walkers, the Evan Pagans, the Brendan Bichards, the Tony Robbins, who are selling courses online, doing this sort of thing. And I think it was around 2010, but based just on my memory of when it launched. And at that time, I remember I talked to you about this in the previous episode about how Unbounce, I was using Unbounce at that time, and how they were like completely unaware of this market of these course creators doing launches and product launch formulas and stuff like that, right? Much later on, ClickFunnels came around and made it very easy to build your funnels out, all that. That's all kind of just a side note about Kajabi. And so Kajabi then did a huge revamp of their product maybe 5 years ago, adding the layers of community inside there and email marketing and so much more. They even
data
have
analytics,
a shared, they have a shared mobile app, which is also very powerful. It's not your own app. It's a shared one, similar to like what Mighty Networks offers, if anyone's familiar with that. So I think mobile learning is also very important when you're choosing your e-learning platform. So I noticed that they switched to calling it a knowledge business. I then also noticed that Thinkific started calling their target audience, as building a knowledge business. And so what I thought was interesting is that now when we go to their website, I'm going to pull it up here and we scroll down, it says, creators use Kajabi to do and earn more. Great headline, by the way. Props to Kajabi. And so they're now targeting creators. And then what's interesting is that there was this press release that came out all about what they're calling their inaugural State of the Creator Economy report. I'm pretty sure inaugural means like annually. Is that what that means?
Inaugural. Yeah. That's yeah. And I downloaded the report, but I haven't had a chance to really dig into it yet. It's it's like 45 pages or something. And it's a lead magnet for them.
Yeah. And I think it's actually the first time that they've ever put it out. So that means that they're going to do one. I think so.
So that's what inaugural means. Yeah. It's the first time they've, and from what I've read, they're going to keep it updated.
Is that what that word means? Is that inaugural means that it's the first time we're doing it, but we're going to do it every year?
Yeah, and from what I've read, this is a report that they're going to keep updated. From my understanding, yeah, because I did skim it a little bit, and there's some really fantastic. I'm actually getting ready to do a big presentation myself. I'm like, oh, there's some good data in here that I'm going to be able to insert into my slide deck. But yeah, no, going back to what you were saying there, it's like you're comparing. I love the Wayback Machine, by the way, and you're comparing what their brand, what their marketing copy was focused on, the knowledge worker. And to that note, actually, I got to mention this because you brought it up. The whole Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, they launched that program for mastermind.com. They called it the Knowledge Business Blueprint. I'm a customer.
That's right.
Did you get that, KBB?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? I got it. It's fantastic. And at the time, it was
They should have had you down with KBB. Yeah, you know me. That should have been their thing.
Yeah,
that's like every time I hear KBB. You know what? I make these references and I think it just like ages us because most people who watch the show probably have no idea what I just said. Like,
we are a little ancient in the marketing world at this point, aren't we?
Same thing you mentioned, like Tim Allen before.
Yeah, Tim Allen, Home Improvement.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
I know. I'm like people like Home Improvement, just Home Improvement. Back in my day when I had to go to school. So I like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. They're brilliant. And at the time, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, that was the largest product launch in online history because I can't remember the numbers.
Was it?
They sold like 20,000 courses in like a week. At the time. I don't know if it's now been surpassed by something else, but at the time it was the largest online product launch ever. It generated crazy amounts of money. Yeah.
So going back into history, because I mentioned Andy Jenkins. Andy Jenkins was a part of StomperNet, which was like Andy Jenkins. It was Mike Filsaime, I think, and it was Frank Kern or whatever. And at the time, they all teamed up to make one big product called StomperNet. And that was, at that time, the biggest product launch. I have no idea how much it made. I can't remember. Gotcha. And that's what I was referring to with I'm saying Andy Jenkins. And then Andy Jenkins went on to create Webinar Jam with Mike Filsaime. And that was their
okay. I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. And rest in peace, Andy Jenkins. He passed away a few years ago. Oh. But anyways, but yeah, going back to big launches, that's what I'm just referencing, the big launch thing. So I don't know how much they made, but I would imagine, I remember that was a pretty big launch.
Yeah.
The other one too that's really big is amazing.com, which is an e-commerce course about Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's like $5,000, something like that, I think.
Yeah. I haven't taken it, but I know a lot of people who have. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that was like an extremely successful launch.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's generating crazy success too, because people who actually apply that actually do well, right? So anyways, we're jumping all over the place now. But something that I noticed when I was comparing the Kajabi website in the Wayback Machine to now, yes, you're totally bang on. They've met, like, and we're going to talk more about this with some other brands. They've discarded the knowledge worker terminology, that copy, and they've adopted the content creator, the creator economy, blah, blah, blah. But something else that I noticed, I don't know if you picked up on this, when you scan through, I'm sharing my screen here. When you scan through, first of all, there's a lot of copy on this. Maybe this is just how things used to be, like were done a year ago or 2 years ago, right? But as you can see, it says right here, your business before Kajabi, right? On their old site. And they're highlighting all the logos of their competitors here, saying that you can replace all of these applications, all of these softwares if you just switch to us. And then you scroll down, I'm sharing my screen here, right? As you scroll down, more ways to monetize your knowledge. And then they highlight Teachable, Kartra, Thinkific. Keep going, everything in one place. Squarespace, Wix, and WordPress. Keep going, get paid on your terms. SamCart, WooCommerce, Infusionsoft. So it's like, I find this fascinating because this is like marketing 101. You know, the old adage that Pepsi talks about Coke, but Coke doesn't talk about Pepsi, right? And then you go to their current website, how it's structured, and way cleaner, way less copy, way like the whole less is more approach right away above the fold. That's the first thing that jumps out at me. Way less going on, way less confusing to the eye. And when you scroll down, creators use Kajabi to do more and earn more. Like you said, I love that copy. $3.5 billion earned for their users. That's a fantastic metric. I don't know if there's any platform that can actually compete with or beat that metric. That is a fantastic metric. And you scroll down, you don't see any mention, any logos of their competitors anywhere. So that's just something I wanted to flag for you in case you didn't notice.
I didn't know. That actually is very interesting. You're right. Because their old page showed all those logos. Yeah. It's like replace this, replace that.
Yeah. But they were talking about their competitors. And now you can't see their competitors anywhere on their website. Pretty cool, right?
Well, speaking of their competitors, SamCart, now getting into this next story here, and this actually does relate to what you were just talking about. So SamCart raised $82 million to build tools for creators. And, you know, relating to SamCart to Kajabi, I should have pulled this up because I totally forgot about this. This would be really good to cover, but I'll just say it because I don't have the post in front of me. But SamCart has been getting a lot of slack from people in the creator community or the course community because they've been running ads, quote unquote, bashing Kajabi.
Oh, really?
And people have been leaving comments and taking screenshots and talking about it in Facebook groups that it's of bad taste to be like putting down your competitor. So, you know, I think that's interesting. And I agree with that. I don't think that you should be talking down about your competitors. Maybe you can compare your competitors. That's okay. Say, hey, this is how we compare to them. But they were like basically, I guess, talking bad. I just Googled it too because I was hoping to kind of find that link for us actually because that sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like politics to me. You know how like a political candidate will pay all this money for a TV ad and the whole ad is bashing their competitor. They don't talk about all the great that they're going to do in office. They're just talking about how terrible the other guy's haircut is or whatever. Yeah, I could probably find it really quick.
You might be able to find it.
I'm going to find it in their ads.
I mean, yeah,
SamCart raises Facebook ads library.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, SamCart raises the link that we're highlighting here for everybody is SamCart raises $82 million Series B to service thriving creator economy. I've actually never used SamCart myself, but I know they're a big player in this space. E-commerce platform built for creators by creators today announced it has raised $82 million in a Series B funding round led by Eldridge with participation from TTV Capital, Vin VC, all these venture capital firms. And I did a little bit of homework on Eldridge down. And when you scroll down to the bottom here, you can learn a little bit more about Eldridge. Elge Bridge invests in businesses across the insurance, asset management, technology, mobility, sports and gaming, media, music, real estate. Yeah, they're a huge venture capital firm.
Yeah. So SamCart is started by, what's his name? Brian Moran. So Brian Moran, for anyone who's been around the block for a while, originally his first kind of big thing was, I think he first did something in the baseball space, but he had a Facebook page called Get 10,000 Fans. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know.
That was his first big thing. He used to be a social media trainer, and his thing was called Get 10,000 Fans.
Oh, okay.
And then he taught Facebook marketing for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And then he started SamCart. And when he first started SamCart, I was a customer of SamCart. It was really good. Yeah. The only reason I switched from SamCart is because I got ThriveCart. And the big pain in the butt at the time with SamCart, it wasn't even about the lifetime access. Actually, it was paying out affiliates was a pain in the butt.
Oh right, you did say that to me.
Yeah. We had a lot of small affiliates. So the reason I originally got ThriveCart, the solution I was looking for was paying out affiliates. So they do automatic affiliate payouts.
Yeah,
I don't know if SamCart's grown a lot since then, right? This is the year they launched was I think 2016. That was the year I got it, and it was good. I had no complaints. Yeah, I'm actually going through their old ads to try to find the ads that were dissing Kajabi. I can't find it.
Yeah,
they might.
I actually would like to see. I mean, come on, it is kind of best practice not to be highlighting your competition, and then especially when if you are bashing them, it's all about. That's just you showing some negative energy into the marketplace. Right here, they're saying solopreneurs, emerging and established creators face many obstacles managing diverse channels while scaling their revenues. Yeah, that's a huge problem these days for content creators. As the creator economy expands and revolutionizes more aspects of commerce, we are the trusted brand to provide a dedicated creator-centric digital commerce platform that can maximize and monetize creators' success online. I love seeing that they're going this direction, but honestly, man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think DLT is going to disrupt these guys big time, because when micropayments become a thing, I don't know how, maybe SamCart is already looking at that technology too, so that they can leverage it for their own benefit. But I think DLT is going to completely disrupt all of this.
What are you saying? DLT? What are you saying?
Oh, sorry. Distributed ledger technology. It's DLT is the umbrella term for blockchain. Yeah.
I've never heard that term before. Okay.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, yeah. It's like the umbrella term for blockchain, because there are other distributed ledger technologies out there that are not blockchain, but they're still DLTs. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I truly believe DLT is going to completely disrupt all of what SamCart is doing. Maybe they're already looking at the DLT, different platforms that they can incorporate into their model. I don't know, but hopefully
every time we talk about some product, you're always like, it's gonna go down with blockchain. There'll be no more startups,
dude. Micropayments are going to completely change so many industries, right? Like it's just primed. It's primed right now because there's so much pain right now associated with that. If you could convert things into such a way so that you don't have to worry about paywalls anymore, or minimize the transactions. Like if I could pay you 10 cents or 5 cents in a way that makes sense, you can't do that through credit cards. You just can't, because the credit card companies charge their fees. So you can't actually send these micropayments between peer-to-peer, P2P, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I know I do talk about it a lot, but I used to work in the industry, and I mean, I believe SamCart is bringing a lot of value to the game, but I really, for their benefit, I really hope that they're looking at these technologies.
I think Brian Moran, I'm pretty sure that was his name. I actually met him at Traffic and Conversions a few years ago. I think he's a very smart guy. Yeah, I think they're going to do really well, and I also think that they will pivot into the right markets. And what I think interesting about them raising that money with the headline, right? Going back to the article, SamCart raises 82 million Series B to service thriving creator economy, which I think is interesting. But then when you go to their website, they don't use the word creators.
Oh, do they not? Oh,
their whole homepage. The only place they do, when you go to Why SamCart, and they have something called Creator U. Then I click on Creator U and I go in there, and it's like a bunch of it's like a bundle, a bunch of courses. It's not really about like creators. Like it's actually quite more like the knowledge worker industry, like the online course creators and stuff like that. You got Mike Dillard, Nicholas Kuzmich, and Jesse Edler, James Wedmore. These are the guys selling online courses. A lot of the online course guys, right?
Mhm.
So it looks like they did sort of the model that Mixergy did. If you know Mixergy, he's got a website, he did a bunch of courses with a bunch of people, kind of like masterclass.com. Mike Diller did this as well on his website, where he kind of like created a bunch of courses with a bunch of, call them influencers or creators, and then bundle it all together. So you can see here, there's all these different courses, and then you get it for one fee of $365 for the year. That's a cool pricing point. Hey,
I'm going to their pricing page right now.
Yeah, I personally, when I see these kind of things, to me, it's an overwhelming amount of information.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sign up for free, personally. I don't want it.
You wouldn't want this for free?
Right? No, I wouldn't do it. Because you know what it feels like? It feels like it's going to be a bunch of videos that are going to be the equivalent of watching a bunch of YouTube videos. It's like a YouTube playlist, right? If I want to find out and all this stuff, right? If I want to find it out, I could just like Google a person's name and what they're teaching in the Creator U video, and I'll probably find it.
Yeah, you could.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
no, let's not put down what they're building here. I think they're building a good content library, but I think what would be more powerful, what I would sign up for, is a community. If it was a community plus there's a bunch of courses there as well, and you could discuss the techniques or whatever in there. Yeah, that's so interesting to me.
And you've highlighted that for us in a previous episode too. I couldn't agree with you more, because going through there's pros and cons of taking an online course, but it oftentimes content creators, and you see this all everywhere too. Oftentimes content creators feel like they're operating in a silo. So if you can participate in a community who are a bunch of like-minded professionals going through a similar process to you, it really does make a lot of the difference, because there's going to be good days and bad days. And there is a lot of value in being a part of a community like that. I agree. Yeah. Tons of value.
So as I was going through and I was finding all these tech startups that are targeting creators, I came across this one, which I had no idea. And I've actually just recently, I was exploring Dropbox for the show and kind of figuring out if we want to use Dropbox. Dropbox has a proprietary software systems, whatever you want to call it. Apple apparently, Steve Jobs apparently went and met with Dropbox fairly early on and offered them, apparently, the rumor is, offered them $1 billion. They didn't take it. And then they made iCloud. But iCloud does not work and function as smooth and as great as Dropbox. So for those who don't know, Dropbox, in terms of being able to do file sharing and online storage and all that, I personally think Dropbox has the best system out there. You get a folder on your computer, it syncs online. Anything you put into that folder, it just syncs online. It can sync across all your devices. It stays on your computer, but it's all being hosted on the web, so you can save a lot of space on your computer, right?
And that protects you from all kinds of crappy things that can happen to you, from cybersecurity and attacks and everything. Yeah, because how many times have we all experienced that, where you lose your device or it breaks or something happens, you get a virus, and then you lose everything. If it's on the cloud, I mean, dude, I'm a digital nomad. I don't put anything saved locally on my devices, because I know anything could happen to my devices. I just need to go down to the store, buy another laptop or what have you, log into the cloud, back in business. Yeah.
I'm same. I have backups of backups of backups. So Dropbox has launched a new product called Dropbox Shop, which is, they say here, is in open beta to allow creators to sell digital content. So it's basically, if you want to sell, you know what it basically is the equivalent of like selling an NFT. You want to sell an image, you want to sell access to something, whatever, but it's not an NFT. That's kind of what this looks like. It's like, hey, I've got this picture. Do you want to go buy it? Right? I got this PDF. Do you want to go buy it? Right? I got this little course. You can just get the video. Right?
Yeah, it says right here, examples of the type of content that you can be sold with Shop include educational courses, which we've been talking about, and materials such as digital art, graphic design, music and audio, writing and publishing, personal finance, spreadsheets, gaming tutorials, fitness and wellness videos, film, photography, animation. Wow. Yeah, this sounds pretty functional, and I think this is a no-brainer for Dropbox to get into this. Everyone's getting into the content creator economy. Everybody.
Right. And I really like Dropbox because originally they were storage, but now they have all these other things. Like they do password management now, and like they're creating more and more products. They're becoming a suite of tools, almost like kind of like what Microsoft does, right? With what do you call that? Office 360, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That I think that's where they're building
365.
and I really like the UI. I love the UI and the usability of Dropbox. You just figure it out. So when they eventually package everything into like one subscription, you just get everything. I would highly consider moving everything to Dropbox. I really like everything about Dropbox. I'm a big fan. So what this reminded me of, which I think is very interesting, is Gumroad.
Yeah, what's Gumroad? You flagged this, and I'm like, what the heck? Gumroad?
Gumroad. Gumroad is basically what Dropbox Shop is. That's what it started as.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really cool because I actually saw, this is old school, okay? So when Gumroad started, it was actually started by a very young entrepreneur. I believe he was maybe 20. And I actually saw him do an interview on Robert Scoble's podcast, which is very old school. Some people might know who Robert Scoble is. He's a tech interviewer type guy. He did a lot of early interviews with like Eric Ries. He did a very early interview with the guys who started Siri before Siri got sold to Apple. There was an interesting, So Robert Scoble's got some very interesting interviews with some like startups. So Gumroad, I remember watching that. He was a very young guy, and his whole thing was like, I want to sell this digital pencil. What's the easiest way for me to sell this like picture of a pencil? That was his example. I don't know why. And it's like, I just want to sell it for $1.
He was probably a fan of Wolf of Wall Street. That's Wolf of Wall Street. Sell me this pen.
I wonder if that was actually what it was. No, this is like before Wolf of Wall Street was even famous. So no,
okay,
probably
fine, fair
enough. But I don't know why he was using it.
I would have loved if that was the actual story, though. That would have made me laugh.
It's weird that I actually still have that visual of him talking about selling a pencil because it's such an odd thing to say you want to sell. Anyways, but their website is very interesting, hey? I'm looking at it right now, like how they have.
It's very out there.
Yeah. It's really different.
I'm looking at the pricing right now. Like I've never heard of these guys before. Lifetime earning milestones, Gumroad fee. So I guess this means if you haven't yet earned anything, you have a fee of 9%. If you break $1,000, your fee goes down to 7%. If you break $10,000, your fee drops down to 5%. So they reward the action takers who actually are generating revenue for themselves by reducing the fee that they charge you. Very interesting. I can't say I've come across that before.
If you want to sell a digital product, I think I've actually recommended Gumroad to a lot of people who are not technically savvy. Gumroad is, I think, the easiest way to sell a digital product. You don't have to set up an LMS. You don't have to set up all your custom domain. It doesn't have any of that. Well, maybe it does. Sorry, maybe it does. I'm not sure. But that's not what it's about. It's like literally like, I want to create a quick link. I give it to you. You go there and you just pay.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish we were kind of.
I can't believe I've never heard of these guys before.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. I've never actually used, like I've set up an account to try it out because I was trying to figure out how to use it for a different project, but it didn't work for the project I was working on. Sorry. But it's just very easy to use, and it's good. Anyways, basically, what I'm saying about this is that this Dropbox Shop, which I'm gonna open up the landing page for Dropbox Shop. It says set up your shop, sign up for the wait list for non-US or team accounts. So it's based in the United States only right now. So you got to use a VPN if you want it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, it looks like this Dropbox Shop is Gumroad. Basically, that's what it is. So. And I would say Gumroad at this point is probably going to be a little bit more sophisticated. What are they charging here for?
I was just doing that. I was just going to the Dropbox pricing to see if we can compare.
It just whatever PayPal and Stripe. You connect your PayPal or your Stripe. Oh, cool! You can have a little brand store, but it looks like it's on Dropbox. Oh, it says customize a shop URL. Oh, that doesn't mean you can have your own CNAME. So I think that. Because it shows on the screenshot here, you got dropbox.com/shop/ whatever your username is, not your name.com. Right? I bet you they don't have CNAME integration. I'm just guessing. They will eventually. But nonetheless, I mean, this looks pretty good. Really easy, simple. I think Dropbox thrives on usability. I honestly love their usability. Love it. So...
Okay, so here we go. Dropbox pricing, personal. So we got $10 a month US, up to family, $17 a month.
No,
US.
That's for all our storage stuff, right?
That's okay. So we can't get the pricing just for the shop. That's what I was looking for.
I don't know. I remember thinking it was weird. I remember when I was looking at their password manager.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of their plans. It was like another thing. If you have a standard account, it's a minimum of 3 users. And then what you do is you just give the password of one of those accounts to everybody. And they all log in with that one account.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's against their terms of service. So I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, you're not.
Well, I will just, whatever. Their customer service told me, okay? He told me. Because I was like, if I have like 7 people I want to share files with, it's going to be kind of pricey, don't you think? And then he was like, well, you can just get 3 accounts. I'm like, what if I just got 2 accounts? And he like got really mad. And he was like, that's against our terms of service. I'm like, isn't 3 accounts against your terms of service? And I was like, what if I just had 1 account and I give everyone the password? He's like, you're not allowed to do that. I'm like, okay. Ready.
And password sharing is like all up in the news and social media right now too, because of the whole like Netflix debacle and Netflix.
Right.
Which that just makes me laugh because back in 2017, their tweet is like, "Love is sharing a password," and today they're coming down hard on people sharing passwords, that just makes me laugh. I mean, people are going to share passwords.
Okay, but whatever. Let's give a shout out to Dropbox. So if you want Dropbox, which you need, and you want to share it with your team, based on what their support told me on the down low, is you get the business standard plan.
Okay.
When you pay monthly, it's $21 a month, but you need at least 3 users. Therefore, it costs you $63 a month for 5,000 gigabytes, and that way you can share with your whole team with that one thing.
Very cool.
Right. Otherwise, you just have your own thing. Anyways, let's move on. Dropbox, awesome. I like Dropbox. Shout out Dropbox Shop. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully Gumroad sticks around because I like Gumroad too.
Yeah, I got to check out Gumroad. So Stripe targets payment processing for creators. All right. So unlock creator monetization on your platform. This is an interesting bit of news that you found for us here, Matt. It tells us here that Stripe has entered into some kind of agreement with Twitter and Clubhouse and Spotify and Gumroad. Oh, they're working with Gumroad too. Okay, interesting.
So for those who don't know, just in case you're in the creator economy and you have no idea how to collect money, Stripe is the number one place to go for payment processing. If you are overseas and you want to incorporate a company, they have a product called Atlas that allows you to incorporate your business and all your finances and stuff. Stripe is great for payment processing, all that. It's great. I use it. And
I was just going to ask you, do you use? Yeah, I haven't started using it yet. I've been meaning to.
Yeah, the thing I like about Stripe is when you get money in a certain currency, if you have a bank account that's also in that currency, for example, I work in Canadian and US dollars. So when US dollars hits the account, it goes to my US dollar account. When Canadian dollars hits my account, it goes to my Canadian dollars account.
Oh, okay.
And and PayPal, like, we got to stop swearing on the show. I do not like PayPal. Okay. I just like, that's one of those things that Elon Musk has to buy and just, I don't know, burn it to the ground. Like PayPal's bad.
Yeah.
Payment processing fees, their customer support is like, who has the worst customer support? PayPal. They are so bad, so bad. And then they'll freeze accounts, they'll shut down accounts. I have so many stories of people who have tens of thousands of dollars in their PayPal account, and then PayPal shuts them down for fraudulent behavior, whatever it is, and they're under investigation or something, and they'll hold their money, they'll freeze their money for months. So not a fan of PayPal. But Stripe, I haven't heard too many bad stories about that. Anyways, why I thought you would like this is because apparently they are teaming up with Twitter to allow cryptocurrency payments for creators. And what I noticed about this, so this story is from April 22nd, which is not too long ago, but I did notice that when I signed up for Twitter Blue, it allowed me to integrate a tip jar on my profile, which allows people to send me money in a cryptocurrency of my choice. So I actually did set up a tip jar. So if you guys want to tip us some money, you go to twitter.com/webfriendly. There's a little tip button now, and you can send us some Bitcoin. And so I think it's interesting that Stripe is getting into crypto payment processing.
Yeah, and I love that you flagged this for me because I have some background in this, and we actually are in the middle of preparing for a special cryptocurrency episode for our viewers and listeners that we're going to be.
Andrew thinks that if a business is not into crypto and decentralized anything, that they're going out of business soon. So So Andrew is confident that Stripe will stay into business.
Well, when I was reviewing this link here, let's scroll down here, this Reuters link here. And what does it say? It says users who will receive crypto payments can hold their earnings in crypto wallets on the Polygon network, a crypto infrastructure firm on the Ethereum blockchain, and can then exchange them into other currencies. So let's have a quick chat about this. I'm not a Polygon expert, man, not a Polygon expert whatsoever, but I did some digging before we hit the record button today, and my understanding is, and anyone, if I'm wrong, you can comment in the video, in the comment section below to correct me. But from the research that I've done, it sounds like Polygon is a sidechain, a layer 2 solution, because Ethereum, any blockchain out there suffers from the blockchain trilemma, whereby you can optimize for one factor, but then, or even two factors, but then the other factor becomes harmful, right? It actually hurts the others. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about speed. I'm talking about fairness, and I'm talking about governance. It's famously known as the blockchain trilemma, and Ethereum famously it's a huge network. I mean, it's a huge distributed network, and it was for the first time when it was launched a few years after the Bitcoin blockchain, it became this very cool thing, because now we had for the first time ever programmable money and smart contracts, but they're limited by something like 17 transactions per second, which is incredibly slow when you talk about any global network like Twitter. So what is Stripe and Twitter using here? Polygon. So I did some digging. Turns out Polygon is a layer 2 solution, and whenever you move up to a layer 2 solution, you unfortunately will be giving up some of the efficiency involved that a layer 1 solution would be using, right? And then when I did my digging, I found out that the transaction limit on Polygon is 7,200 transactions per second. Well, dude, how many tweets are going out globally per second, right? I don't know what the number is, but there is a bajillion tweets going on every second, every minute, every hour, 24/7, 365. So I'm a little, I'm not a Polygon expert, but I'm a little concerned to see that this is the direction that they're going. I think that they're going to have to find a better technology out there that can manage the volume, because when people start tipping each other more and more frequently, more often, this becomes more of a thing, more popular on a platform like Twitter. They're going to quickly overwhelm 7,200 transactions per second. But again, hey, if I'm no Polygon expert, if I am mistaken, someone can add a comment below.
I'm impressed by whatever you said, but I don't understand anything you said. So just for the viewers who heard everything you said and are in the same boat as me, who don't understand anything, what is Polygon?
So it's a second layer side chain.
Is it a
blockchain?
It's
a blockchain.
Is it a payment processor? It's a
blockchain. So and a blockchain is a distributed and we're not getting into the weeds on this call, obviously, on this episode here, but a blockchain is a distributed ledger, right? So whereby a transaction is recorded and collected and then shared on the blockchain, so that every node recognizes that transaction occurred, that happened. Everyone agrees that transaction.
So
happened.
we're gonna do a crypto episode, right? What I think we should do is get my mom on, and then have your friend and you try to explain this to my mom.
That would be hilarious. That'd be good. We should do that. We should totally do that.
Yeah, because if you try to explain it to me, I think you're assuming that I can understand whatever you're saying, but I really have no idea what you're saying, and I feel so bad. I feel so dumb.
Well, to bring it back to the news here too, it does say the crypto payments will be routed through Stripe Connect, which will also handle your know your customer requirements, Stripe said. Unfortunately, this is the negative side of the industry. KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering. It's a very messy conversation, and we're going to geek out on all of this stuff on our crypto episode. But I'm glad you flagged this for everybody. It's cool to see that Twitter is at least thinking of this stuff.
Hey, I just want to throw out here, I've been following the news on Stripe going public, because I remember when Facebook was going public, I followed the news and I was like, I'm going to go and buy. And I was planning to buy a lot of Facebook, and then I didn't, because at that time I didn't buy stocks, and I always regretted it because I was ready to go. I remember it launched at $33 a share. I still remember that.
Yeah. And then it came down, didn't it? It came down to like $20 or something. And then it went crazy. Like it did come down right away.
No, I never went down to 20. No. It went up by like a couple dollars on the first day, It went up by like $5 or $6 by the first or second day. I don't remember it going down to 20. I don't think so.
This is really random memory. I don't know why I remember this. I'm not making this up. And I know we should stop swearing so much. I saw Michael J. Fox complaining because I guess he got a bunch of Facebook stock, and then it did go down. I don't know. We got to look this up now. Because I remember Michael J. Fox complaining about how the Facebook stock went down as soon as it went public.
Check it out. But while you're checking it out, I just want to share this about Stripe. So their valuation is now $95 billion, which is that was in 2021, which is triple the previous valuation, which was $36 billion. So I'm planning when Stripe goes public to buy a lot of Stripe. I think Stripe is going to be long term. They are a payment processor of the internet.
So there you go. A lot of companies, you heard it here first. Our financial advisor, Matt Astifan, is telling you to buy some Stripe.
That's right.
Stock.
And there is, I don't know if we have any sort of a legal thing we're supposed to say. I'm not a financial advisor or whatever. I don't know if we have to say that. But I just think that that there's that. And there's a lot of these companies they call like the buy now, pay laters. Do you know about those?
No.
What are they called?
No.
There's a whole bunch of them. I noticed it like on Apple's website. If you want to buy something now, it says just pay equal payments for a year, and there's no interest and there's no transaction fee. So what those companies are doing is they're trying to assume all this debt. So that way they get, I think what they're doing is they're buying the payment processor. So instead of using Stripe, they're saying, hey, we'll offer you, your customers, monthly plans.
Okay.
So they're just losing money right now. So that way all the big players switch over to their payment processor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah,
I wish I had more information. Yeah, I wish I had more information to share about this. But yeah, if you ever notice that, I think it's great because now, I mean, no interest, no transaction fee. There's no reason to pay full price right now. Just whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, I got you.
Right?
And Matt, I found it here, man. I found it here on the Motley Fool. I don't know if you've ever checked out the Motley Fool.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It does say here the Facebook's IPO was largely viewed as a failure. In the days following the stock's release, it dropped and dropped and dropped. The stock stayed below the $38 mark for months and finally bottomed out in September 2012 below $18. So yeah, it's So I do remember correctly. I'm telling you, Michael J. Fox was like complaining about it too, because it looks like it IPO'd at like, I don't know, $36, $37, because I'm looking at a screenshot here and it dropped all the way to just below $18. But it took months and months for it to recover. Yeah, it did terribly. But I mean, it just goes to show you short term versus long term. Long term almost always trumps the short term, the results that people, because people sold and got pissed off and got annoyed and took the loss. But had they just held on, they would have been super, super happy, right? So, but
yeah, I think a lot of people don't like the vision of Facebook. That's why people don't want to invest in it right now. I'm the same way. Like, I think it's actually a good investment. I actually just recently, when it crashed like a few months ago because of the whole scandal, I was like, okay, it dipped and I got in, right? But I also don't really believe in the vision. Like we talked about in the last episode, where like I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg deserves all the negative criticism to him directly, but whatever he believes in, he believes in. And back in the day, people thought social media was crazy. Why would you do social media? Social media is bad. And like all these kind of older people were like didn't believe in the social media. Right. And there's a lot of pros and cons to social media. Right. So when we talk about the metaverse and everything there right now, a lot of people are like, I don't want my kids just living in the metaverse. I don't want to work in the metaverse. I want to go out meet real people. Right. But in the next 10 years, when the metaverse becomes like a real thing, there might be a lot of advantages to it. Right. Who knows what's going to happen there. Right. But a lot of people, I think, don't like Facebook and investing in Facebook because they don't like the future vision that they're going to create. Which I am actually in the same boat right now.
Yeah, and we're jumping all over the place now, but we'll talk more about Facebook and Meta and everything. I'm personally a big proponent behind the hybrid model, in-person events, virtual events. I think there's a time and a place for both, and I see nothing wrong with that.
So Podia is another learning management system, which since I was doing my research around this and kind of looking at different companies targeting the creator economy, I realized that they're actually really big on courses, webinars, downloads, and community. I have not checked out their community feature. I'm actually planning to check this out. Because I think that an LMS needs to be strong community. I've yet to see an LMS that is like has a community aspect that I really think is great. They need to have an app. Social networks are mobile networks.
That's
Every
right.
social network is more than 50%. Like Twitter, I think is 60% mobile. And everything else is 80 to 90% mobile, including Facebook.
Yeah, YouTube is majority mobile too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's so many of them. All the biggest social networks are 100% mobile. TikTok, Instagram, and Snap. Right. And then Facebook, I think was 80 or 90% now. And YouTube is like 70, whatever,
But we're flagging
Anyways, so
Podia.
So Podia.com. So Podia, so headline, everything you need to sell courses, webinars, downloads, and community. Never worry about getting a bunch of different tools to talk to each other again. That sounds pretty promising. So they have this thing called the Creator Fellowship. And it says here, one creator will win at least $1,000. But for every creator you nominate, we add $1 to the prize. And it was actually, there was some fine print here up to $3,500. So what I think is cool, they're giving away money. And if you nominate somebody, a creator, who ends up winning, you get $500 too. So I guess they're in it for about there it says the prize pool is capped at $3,500 when we hit 35 nominees. So I don't know whether or not
it was capped. Oh,
gotcha. So I don't know if that $500, if somebody nominates that person, if that's coming out of the 3,500, or are they going to give away 4,000? But what I think is interesting about this is that I'm here on Crunchbase. Podia raised $3.1 million, right? They have 6 employee profiles. So that means they're kind of a small company. $3 million, raising $3 million is not huge, right? Kind of a small company. They got 3 investors, okay? And then I looked them up on the way back. I looked up this page on the way back machine because I saw that
you love that
it is closed. Yeah, it's closed. You cannot nominate anybody anymore. Okay, so I went there and then I saw that back in January they did the same thing, and they said we're giving away one Podia creator $2,022 to make 2022 their most successful year yet. Can you imagine if just $2,022 would make your year the most successful year ever? I mean, imagine how impactful that would be. Dun, dun, dun. So what I think is kind of interesting about this. Yeah, I think what's interesting about
they're trying to give away some free money. Who's not going to like free money? And yeah, they've done a decent effort, put in a decent effort here of trying to attract some attention. Matt, I don't know if we're ready to move on here, buddy, but I see your 1,000 plus $1 plus multiple single dollars with a max of 3,500. I see your 1,000 and I will raise you 100,000 for the Teachable option. Teachable is in the game too. And so, yeah, sharing my screen here. Teachable is obviously a huge platform. Clearly, leaders in the content creation space as well. And they're doing something pretty exciting. They say $100,000 grand prize, the next big creator competition. Are you the next big creator? This is your opportunity to find out and also win $100,000 for earning big on Teachable. This is a huge.
This is way more. And it says also here, it says, or one of 3 runner-up prizes of $10,000.
Yeah. Now, but like if you scroll all the way down, they got all the steps, right? I don't know if you had time to check this out. I checked this out before we hit the record button today. If you scroll all the way down, they got the different tracks. Now, if you want to win the 100,000, you have to win the #1 revenue generator in each track of all 4 tracks. So what do we got here? The kickoff, you're just starting out. Validate, you've created and shared some level of content. Rising, you've made sales, whether in online courses or through other content. And then verified, you're already a standout and you're here to prove it. If you just kick butt, you get the #1 place in one of these tracks, then you qualify for the $10,000, one of the $10,000 sub prizes, right? But I mean, yeah, whoever gets the $100,000 is definitely going to have to really kick butt in all.
Whoever gets the $100,000 already has $100,000. Like if you're able to make that, if you have an audience large enough to do that,
yeah, they're probably
they're not really giving. Yeah, they're not really giving the money to like an up and coming, right? So whatever. I'm going with Podia. I think Podia is cooler. Okay, $1,000. Up to $3,500 just for being nominated. They just get to choose you out of a hat. I don't know how they're going to choose.
But
I will mention that Podia was what?
Keep going.
Podia has a YouTube channel, and they're making some content, and they're really trying to attract some creators with this creator fellowship. I also think it's smart for them, because if for every person that gets nominated, they add $1, right? So if the prize pool gets to $3,500, okay, that means that they got 2,500 leads. So as a business, I think that's pretty good. And I think it's so good that we should do something. Once our audience gets a little bit bigger, right? So we have enough people who will actually apply. We're going to have $1,000. Yeah, we're going to do $1,000 creator thing too. If Podia can do it, we could do it. Yeah. We just need to make sure that if we got, like, for example, 1,000 creators apply, it's 1,000 leads. $1 a lead is pretty good. So I don't know. I thought the Podia thing was funny because it was a small amount.
Yeah.
Right. When I first saw it, I was like, $1,000. And then I looked up and I was like, why are they leaving with that? Like, are they doing this every month? That's why I went to the Wayback Machine and I saw that they gave away $2,200. So probably what they figured out was that they weren't getting $2,022. So they were probably not getting enough leads to justify the $2,022.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not enough. Like $1,000 is like give 1,000 to 10 creators. That would be, wow, cool, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they could do like $1,000 every month.
Where I kind of equate this to is like the gold rush. You know what I mean? People always love using this example. You're gonna, if you haven't heard it before, I guarantee you're going to hear it multiple times. It's the the people who are actually going out there to trying to find the gold, and then you've got the successful entrepreneur that's selling the pickaxes and the shovels and all of the equipment for those gold rush pioneers to discover and find the gold. Right. Well, now we've got all of these brands. Teachable, Podia, Thinkific, HubSpot, all of these different brands that are working their butts off, offering prize money, trying to find all kinds of ways to create those pickaxes and shovels so that the content creators can go out there and generate revenue for themselves. It's really kind of entertaining to really, like, what we're doing here is like picking through all of these different brands' strategies and to figure out that they all have similar approaches and different approaches, and they're all basically trying to do the exact same thing. They're trying to get as many creators on their platform as possible and then brag about how much money their creators are generating in revenue.
Right. You know what's cool about the Wayback Machine on the Podia thing is that they're also giving away a bunch of courses.
Oh, were they?
What would be better? You know what we should do? We can team up with Podia. We'll say, hey, we will double it from if you for every one person, we'll give you another $1. Now we're going to be at $7,000, and then we get partnered with Podia. And then what I've been seeing a lot of people do is that they get all these software companies or whatever courses, and they bundle it all in. So you also get all access to software courses, which could make that prize value, $50,000, but it's like you're getting like AWS credits. Maybe you get a Dropbox account, you get like whatever, right? That gives you all these tools and resources that you might need as a creator. And that way you're not giving up cash money. And then all these companies and brands are basically sponsoring your thing. We should put this together.
I think that's brilliant, dude, because what a lot of people convince themselves that they can't become a content creator because of all the startup costs. Because maybe they just don't have the budget. Maybe they just don't have the funds. But if they could win all of these tools and softwares and whatnot that would negate the startup costs, then what excuse would they have? They could still become a content creator.
Well,
that's a great idea.
What you do is you create a viral loop. Once they put in their email address, then it says, okay, share. And then when you share, you get points. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you know how those things work? Like King Sumo, there's
I've never
like
used them, but I know
contest
you have.
domination.
Yeah, I know how they work.
Yeah.
I've participated in them, but yeah.
Yeah, Refinery. These are all tools where you opt in, then you get your own unique link, and then you share it, and people click on it, and they come and opt in. You get points. But what's funny about all those things is that who wins is the person who got the most people to come in. That's the way that it ends up working out. I happen to know this from the back end of softwares and stuff. So then you would just end up getting a lot of people opting in, and you build this huge audience of creators. We're talking about this right now. I think we should actually do this.
That's a great idea, man.
Literally,
I like it.
Literally, I think we're going to do this. I think we should do this getting close to the end of the year. We're going to build up our audience enough so that we get enough leverage, or we partner with something like Podia. So we'll tag Podia. Who knows if they actually watch this video? So shout out Podia.
Shout out Podia.
We think that your $1,000 is better than the Teachable. I think the Teachable thing is only going to somebody who's already got the money. $1,000 is going to a creator who might actually need it. That $2,022.
It looks like someone who's already winning in that game is going to end up winning the $100,000.
Yeah,
it's not going to be.
Yeah. I don't like Teachable. $2,022 is going to make your 2022 the most successful year ever.
But we're
All
gonna
right,
we're gonna help them bump up that $2,022 to something else.
Yo, Podia, if you want to work together, we'll double it up. Okay.
Yeah, let's
I'll put
double
in
it up.
$1 for every dollar. Let's do it. I'm down.
Let's do it.
Last story here. A huge company targeting creators is HubSpot, which I think is super interesting. I was looking at ActiveCampaign, Keep, which is previously Infusionsoft. They are still using the words B2B business, entrepreneurs, small business, right? HubSpot has recognized the power of creators, and they want to partner with creators. They're doing what's called the HubSpot Creators, is an accelerator that gives top undiscovered creators access to the rocket ship they deserve. What they're doing is they say here, the median podcast episode only receives 29 listens, which I will verify that's true. And it makes, and it takes 4,000 listens to reach the top 1%.
1%.
That means that 99% of podcasters never get close to the real impact. We believe there's a way to grow. How does the program work? You get maybe some seed investment, a Series A, a Series B, you're basically raising money for your podcast. And what they're doing is that they're creating the HubSpot Podcast Network. So hopping over to the HubSpot Podcast Network, there's actually a lot of shows that I'm actually familiar with. I did not know they're part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. And I don't know exactly how they're promoted through this. Like you even got Entrepreneur on Fire in here. You got My First Million.
They're a little wishy-washy on the details, I noticed. You know what I mean? Because like I'm still on the creators link here. And I mean, the quote that they got for John Lee Dumas is, all ships rise in a high tide. But the quote above, which is Emily Thompson, it feels like we're paving the way for the future of podcasting. So somehow John Lee Dumas is involved, but he's so successful in the pod, he wouldn't need this. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, wait a second.
But if you go to like HubSpot.com/creators and you go to the bottom, it says here, it says exactly how much will I be paid. So they will pay you something. They don't say exactly. It says, what does it offer? And it says, just like creator compensation, operational support increases as you move your way through the creator tiers. At the initial tier, we expect podcasts to do their own editing and production with guidance from our internal team. However, at the highest tier, podcasts can expect to have a full team responsible for editing, producing, researching, and growing their podcast, right? And then it says here, what if I already have a podcast? And it says that they will, it doesn't show actually, sorry. It says, anyways, they were saying that they will either license your podcast.
I like what they're doing. But from what I was digging around on this, and it sounds like to me that the first cohort is done, and they're now looking for the applicants for the second cohort. And according to the information on the site here, they're only looking for like 6 to 8 podcasts. So the first cohort we don't exactly have a large data set here, and they don't really like the 4 different tiers: seed, Series A, Series B, Series C. They're not clickable. And I was really hungry to get some more detail on exactly what is offered in each tier. And they're not really offering a lot of information. So I've already shared this with some friends of mine that are in the middle of launching their own podcast. And I thought, hey, you should apply for this. This seems pretty cool. And they thanked me. I mean, I see enough value here that we should be talking about it for sure. But I just wish there was a little bit more detail. I almost feel like this is kind of like a minimum viable product for them. And they're just trying to kind of test the waters, so to speak, and just kind of figure out how it's actually going to work. You know? But
I wonder, like, what is it going to be? Is maybe they're going to have their own app. And so if I want to find the best business podcasts, I think like the app market for podcasts is like, there's not one that has comments and community in it. Like when Spotify was going big on podcasts, I'm like, wonder if they would just put profiles and comments. Like when you listen to a podcast and then like YouTube videos and then like comment.
Yeah.
You know? Whoa, yeah. I don't know why no one's done that yet, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, it'd be interesting if they have their own app, or like right now, are they just basically sponsoring all these podcasts? Like I didn't listen to these podcasts to see, but like, are they all going to say this show is sponsored by HubSpot? We're part of HubSpot. Like maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because I went through this whole damn thing and I'm like, how is this even monetized? It doesn't make sense to me with how like they're basically going to just paying you out of their own pocket to create content, and as long as your content performs well, they're going to continue sponsoring you, and they're going to continue providing all these kinds of operational podcasting services as well. But there's no clear way of how like the money actually works.
I think they want to create a podcast network, right? Business podcast network. Very smart. And they're licensing our existing popular podcasts. I just wonder if they're getting any exposure out of those. Like, they're basically the sponsor of that podcast. That would be interesting, right? Then looking over here on Morning Brew, which is also a very popular publication. They got a very popular newsletter. They're doing the same thing where they're saying, hey, we want to partner with creators who are creating podcasts and shows around these various topics, right? And then I noticed that Airtable was doing the same thing. And I've noticed that Airtable? You don't know Airtable?
I don't have it.
Airtable,
I don't know Airtable, man. Educate me.
Airtable is like it's like Google Sheets on steroids, but it has an API, so you can like have your backend database of your whole website on Airtable.
Oh yeah,
like you could build like an e-commerce website and then like manage everything with spreadsheets and stuff like that in Airtable. It's pretty powerful. I don't want to use it. I just know it's incredibly powerful. A lot of people will love it. Yes, it's basically spreadsheets.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like super,
and going back to the Morning Brew, I actually used to read Morning Brew every week, and I've fallen away from it now, but they do great work. It says by leveraging Morning Brew's audience of 5 million plus, you'll be able to grow your audience far more quickly than as a solo operator. Couldn't agree with them more on this. I think it's a no-brainer for them to get involved in the content creators economy as well. They already have the audience. So can you imagine being a content creator immediately exposed to a vast audience like this right away? That's brilliant for Morning Brew to recognize that they add a lot of value to the content creator economy in this way. Because they got the audience. It's fantastic.
Digital marketer, digitalmarketer.com/podcast. They also I heard they were building a podcast network. They started with the Perpetual Traffic podcast, which is actually started by Keith Grants. And then, but now it's being run by Ralph Burns and his friend. Before it was Keith, Ralph, and Molly used to be the host of that. I used to listen to that show all the time. Oh, yeah. But after Keith left, and then it was like, and then but it's still a good show, I'm sure. But then they got the Digital Marketer podcast, and I'm sure they want to get more and more podcasts. I heard before that's what they were doing. So a lot of these media companies, they want to have podcast networks, and I think that's what this is. So I actually applied for this HubSpot creators thing.
Did you?
See what happens. I don't know.
Right on.
I don't know what Series A and Series B is, whatever. But hey, if they got something planned, they got a big network, they got a lot of customers, so who knows what they're doing. So, but I'm sure they were going to love Good Morning Marketers.
So what are we saying here, Matt? That the future is looking bright for content creators? Brands are
the one thing I noticed,
working their butts
the only
off?
downside, I think the downside is that we don't have a really good like cover art for our show yet. And so like looking at the podcast, hubspot.com/podcast network, look at the cover art on some of these.
Yeah, they do.
Like look at this one called The Daily Hustle Show. That's such a nice.
Yeah.
And look at that one. It actually has the HubSpot logo in it.
Dude, done is better than perfect. Look
at marketing against the grain. Look at that one. That one looks really good.
Are you doing
see these?
Some homework here? Yeah. I do. I do see that they got some great
marketing. MarTech podcast looks really bad. That's a horrible cover art. Marketing Made Simple. I think that one looks pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
Some of these. Anyways, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I think that was another successful episode for Good Morning Marketers.
All right, guys. So thanks for listening. If you guys go over to webfriendly.com, you could subscribe to our newsletter. You could also see written stories and all the resources that we talk about. We have articles for every single story that we cover on webfriendly.com. Scroll to the bottom where you see topics and click on Good Morning Marketers, and you're going to find all the stories that we cover are all there, and they're all written out. If you guys want to review those and the resources that we're looking at, you find it all there on webfriendly.com. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.